It is Wednesday, October 23rd, 2024. Welcome back to another edition of Baseball Today, brought to you by SeatGeek. Use code JohnBoyPlayoffs10 for 10% off your ticket. Whether you're going to go to the World Series or if your team got eliminated and you're in a bad mood and you need to go see like a dark play or maybe a emo band, I'm talking to you, Jolly. Just use the promo code JohnBoyPlayoffs10, 10% off your ticket. And speaking of Jolly, we know Chris Rose is still gallivanting all around Europe. So Jolly is back with us, joining us as a host. And obviously, producer Dan is here as well. And we're going to start this one off with kind of a sad tip of the cap. Maybe the way I would like to put it is a celebration of one of the cooler baseball careers in all of baseball. Fernando Valenzuela, a legendary Dodgers pitcher, a legendary pitcher in his own right, passed away Tuesday night. Obviously just days before the Dodgers are back in the World Series. Fernando Mania was definitely a thing. I'm from Los Angeles. I got to see Fernando at like high school games. I believe his son was playing against my brother, and when he would walk in to the baseball yard, people would gasp because this guy meant so much, not only to Los Angeles as a whole, but to the Mexican community that we have in Los Angeles, which we know is a massive part of our culture here. He just brought so much pride to everyone in Los Angeles, but again, specifically to the Mexican American culture. This guy, like the career accolades are crazy, man. And the beginning of his career was awesome. In 1981, when the Dodgers last played against the Yankees and beat them in the World Series, Fernando Valenzuela was an all-star. He won the Cy Young. He won the Rookie of the Year. He won the Silver Slugger, which is like debatable. Go check the numbers out. But he also was fifth in MVP voting, and he went on like a 6 or 7 year run with the Dodgers where he was just absolutely unhittable, the talk of the town, and just larger than life personality. And he really cemented his legacy with the Dodgers during those years. He's been serving as a Spanish language broadcaster for them, I believe since 2003. So he has such a big imprint on the Dodgers franchise. This one it stings for sure. Being here, talking to people about this, it is, it's a sad day for Los Angeles, but also it's nice to celebrate him again. So that's kind of the way like I'll take this. It's our chance to, go back and look at his numbers, go back and look at some of the highlights, understand what he really meant, not only to the Dodgers, but to Los Angeles. So that's Fernando Valenzuela. What do you got? You got anything on him? Was he on your radar, Jolly? I know you're a little bit
Trev.
younger than us.
So yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, this is obviously a bigger part of your youth and your generation. But you know me, there's not a baseball reference page I haven't seen, and this is something at the tippy top for me. I loved what Jeff Passan posted yesterday about that first burst onto the scene of Valenzuela and how he took over the sport, and honestly, just life in California for that 2 month span. It's a shame that I didn't get to like view it in real time. Obviously, I wasn't even a thought back in 1981. But it's cool to see how much his legacy means to people and how much more emotional this Dodgers postseason run becomes with them wearing his heart on their sleeves now. I thought what you said was a beautiful celebration of life, man. Well put.
17 years in the majors, 11 with the Dodgers. He went on the pitch for the Padres, the Angels, a few other teams there, but he'll be remembered obviously as a Dodger forever. So RIP Fernando. I know he's looking down on the Dodgers this World Series, and speaking of World Series, let's get into that. This is we've talked about this quite a bit. Dodgers versus Yankees. It is a heavyweight matchup. East Coast, West Coast, number one seeds. These offenses have been two of the tops in baseball all season long. And Jolly, the reason that these offenses have been so good is a couple guys there in the middle. For the Dodgers, at the top of the lineup, and for the Yankees in the middle of the lineup, we're talking Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani. They're both expected to win the MVP this season. Both players led their league in home runs. Aaron Judge, 58, Shohei, 54. During his media session, this is very interesting. Aaron Judge was asked, besides the obvious, what do you admire about Shohei Ohtani?
Hits for average, hits for power, the speed. Doing what he did this year with the 50 stolen bases. It got talked about a lot, but I don't think it got talked about enough. It's just he's an impressive athlete. The best player in the game, and what an ambassador for this sport.
Now, I know these two definitely have a unique respect for each other. They both understand, what it's like to carry an offense, be the face of a franchise. Aaron Judge got his massive contract. Shohei Ohtani got his massive contract. So a lot of times, we have gone back and forth about who really is the best player in baseball. I'm on record as saying I don't think there's anyone even close to Shohei when we're talking overall skill set, just because of the fact that he can pitch at an elite level. I mean, that just puts him over the top for me. A lot of people will say, well, hey, he doesn't play defense. He doesn't play center field the way Aaron Judge does. To that, I say, you're right. Aaron Judge, I believe, is the better offensive player. I do. I think Aaron Judge is the best hitter in the game right now. And yes, he does play center field. That's why he's racked up more WAR than Shohei Ohtani, as Shohei just DH this year. So I have my opinion out there. I think Shohei is the better overall player. I think Judge is the better hitter. My question to you is, does this World Series, does that hold any weight to who you would consider is the best player in baseball?
Yeah, I mean, the old adage is, well, one guy can only bat once in every 9 players. That's how baseball works. It's a team sport. But when you get this matchup that is so star driven and highlighted by its stars and propelled by its stars, it's hard not to, act like this series won't matter in determining who people treat as top dog. And, Judge's words were obviously kind and honest and very true, but part of me wanted him to cut like a WWE promo and be like, I'm the best, like this is the matchup, I'm the king of New York, all that shit. Not that he
You
would
would
ever
never
do
say
that.
that.
He would
You would
never
never
say
say
any
that.
of that shit. Point blank though, I'm with you. I mean, defense matters a lot to me. Francisco Lindor, my favorite player. Shohei only DH this year, and the fact that they had equal, if not Judge favored offensive output on top of the fact that Judge plays center field means I skew more towards Judge, and we'll wait and see how Shohei pitches next year and if he can keep up the offense, all that stuff. But in the current moment, all that matters to anybody is who's going to hoist the trophy at the end. Like MVP awards are nothing to scoff at. These guys earn theirs. They're going to be unanimous MVPs. But I think the only thing that these two guys are thinking about is who's going to win this 7-game set, because that's all that really matters in the end. So yeah, I think it'll skew public opinion. It might even skew mine depending on what these guys do. And I can't wait for it to get going.
Yeah. So again, I think Judge had the better offensive year, but then, you start to remember Shohei stole how many bags? 50 whatever bags. Like that
Yeah.
has to come into consideration when you're talking about this year. And I think that's what I'll kind of stay with in my answers. This year, I think this World Series will determine who had the better year. They're both going to win the MVP. They both put up crazy offensive numbers. Again, they're different. Judge, the OPS is going to be better. The WAR is going to be better, but Shohei has the first 50-50 season in baseball history. So, I think right now I would put those guys pretty dang neck to neck. I think it's hard to say. Maybe you can put Judge a little bit above because he played center field. I'd be fine with that argument. But at the end of the year, if we're looking back and saying who owned the year of 2024, Aaron Judge or Shohei Ohtani, I think we will go back and look and say, well, who won the World Series? And this is one of those World Series that's very, very difficult to kind of handicap, to say. I mean, we're probably going to give our lean here at the end of the show. I'm still kind of searching for mine as where I think the series is going to go. But I do think that if Shohei goes off and carries the Dodgers to victory, I would look back and say Shohei had the better year in 2024, and vice versa. If Aaron Judge carries his team, goes off, I will say that about Aaron Judge. I guess, how about this little caveat here? What if Shohei has a horrible series and the Dodgers win the World Series? I think they
That's
have
going
to
to show
play
you how
well.
powerful the Dodgers are.
I think both, like, they have to play well for me to say yes, this determines who had the better year. How about that?
I don't think anyone, wants to see the two MVPs, either of them lay an egg in the World Series. Like those are the going to be the most viewed at bats, and nothing about their play from prior series shows me that they're not going to show up here. Like I know there was a lot of discussion on Judge in the playoffs, but like he still hit a game tying homer off Class A. He still, his numbers land in a good place, and we haven't seen Judge in the World Series yet. We haven't seen Shohei in the playoffs at all prior to this. We haven't seen what Judge can bring to the table on like the biggest stage possible. So I'm very curious.
I think there's a lot to focus on in this World Series, but those two guys, the fact that we get to see both of them playing against each other in their prime after MVP years is something that we have to consider very special, people. So, I know a lot of people aren't rooting for either of these teams, but this is good ball right here. So tune into that. Speaking of good ball, there's a guy with the Dodgers named Freddie Freeman. He plays a really good ball, Jolly, a former MVP. He's been a stalwart in lineups for years and years, but dealing with an ankle injury right now. Freddie Freeman and Dave Roberts discussed on Tuesday how his ankle has progressed and their expectations for his availability in this World Series.
Every day that I can get off my feet and not running and just treating this is huge. I mean, obviously I didn't play in game 6, so that was a day I didn't have to run. I can still hit, I can do all that kind of stuff. It's more of once I take that first run step a few days ago, that's when everything kind of just flares up in my ankle. So I'm now at 3 straight days of not running and just only treating it. So every day is going to be better. I mean, it's with all injuries, treatment and rest and time away from the initial injury is only going to be better. So we're just trying to do the best we can to get it into a spot that'll be ready to go on Friday.
So it sounds like good news for Freddie. Getting those off days has definitely helped his ankle. The Anthony Rizzo, first baseman for the Yankees, is also dealing with some injuries as well. His hand, he said, has been ballooning up after games as he's playing with a couple broken fingers, essentially. I guess my question to you is, how impactful will both of these guys be in the World Series? Do you see their injuries impacting them enough to where maybe we do see them sitting out as we saw Freddie Freeman in Game 6?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, man. I think that this conversation skews more the Dodgers way, obviously, because of Freddie's resume, because of his production this year. But I think Rizzo's presence on the Yankees is just as important, just on a different scale. And we'll never know the true severity of what these guys are going through because, especially with the Yankees, there's always some kind of cloudiness with injury reports. And I think these guys, rightfully so, aren't being 100% honest about what they're dealing with. But I have no doubt in my mind that they're both going to play because it's the World Series. They understand how rare it is to get to this point. For Rizzo, it's been 8 years since he's climbed this mountain, back with the 2016 Cubs. And even if Rizzo is just in there as a defensive bump for the Yankees, that provides a ton of value. You had guys like John Birdie and Oswaldo Cabrera getting regular first base innings. And while they did a pretty good job, that's not who you want there. Those guys are middle infield utility guys. You want your first baseman there. For Freddie, though, it is more significant because, I watched the NLCS, obviously, every pitch, every inning. You could see how much pain the guy was in. And you could also see the struggles of guys like Teoscar Hernandez, who was hitless until Game 6. When you have Freddie out of the lineup and then also guys slumping, that Dodgers monster at the top becomes a lot less scary. They need him, dude. Like, I think they're going to need him to play through this regardless of what the pain is, as long as it's not career threatening in some capacity. Whereas the Yankees, I think they need Rizzo mostly for his defensive presence because we know that infield defense can get shoddy at times. But it's important to both teams. I think that shouldn't be understated at all, regardless of what Rizzo did this year.
I'll start with Rizzo. We saw him actually put up a good offensive series in the ALCS. He actually struggled a little bit defensively, and people were wondering, well, look, this is a pain tolerance thing. Like, what do you do when you need to tolerate pain? You take some painkillers. And was that the case? Could that have been affecting him on defense? I think that's actually like a valid question. I mean, look, I know I played through injuries. There are times where, you're kind of taking stuff to get through these games, and is it gonna inebriate you? I don't know, man. He looked fine at the plate. I think I honestly think that's a real thing. I would say that I'm less worried about Anthony Rizzo I think that he will be okay. He seems like, he's able to kind of do what he needs to do out in the field. Freddie, he struggled, man. 7 for 32 in this postseason, 0 extra base hits, only 1 run driven in, only 1 walk. You see him not be able to, take the extra base and all these things. And you wonder if it continues to bother him. If he goes out there in the first game, he's like, man, like I'm just not right. What does that mean for him, and what do the Dodgers do? I really hope. I want to see Freddie Freeman out there playing every single inning because I'm a guy that says this all the time. I want the best players on the field at all times. I root for nobody to ever be injured because that's when baseball is at its best, Charlie's, when we have all the good players playing. So I want Freddie to feel good. I think my question is, at what point, if let's say he's struggling, man, he can't really run and he can't really push off and the swing isn't really there, at what point do you say, man, I might be doing more harm to my team being in the lineup? Now, they were 3-0 in the post, have been 3-0 this postseason without him in the lineup. You mentioned Game 6, he wasn't there, and they went off on an offensive explosion. Do we see him relegated to a pinch hit, a pinch hitting role? I'm not really sure. I really hope it doesn't come down to that. It sounds like these 3 days have been really, really good for him. And I guess that's kind of what I'm hoping for. So I don't really know exactly if I answer the question. I believe Rizzo will be fine. I think that's another thing. Look, keep your eye on Freddie. See how he's moving. See if he's grimacing. Oh, is that too soon?
Too soon, Trev.
That's
Come on.
too soon.
Come
If
on.
he's, what's another word for grimacing?
Wincing.
If he's wincing in pain, check that out because he is very important to this Dodgers lineup. And again, I hope both these guys just play and we don't really even have to worry about it. You know what I'm a little bit worried about, though, Jolly?
What's that?
I'm worried about people not getting off their ass. We need to get off our ass and go out and have a Mountain Dew. With bold flavors and refreshing citrus kick, Mountain Dew will get you off your behind and have you feeling like you're on an actual mountain, a mountain where the weather is always perfect. Your friends are ready to hang, and a day of epic proportions awaits. I mean, there are so many things to do outside. As the kids say, go touch some grass with some Mountain Dew. I like to throw the football around, play some Frisbee. There's a game called Beersby I like to play where you throw a Frisbee at a pole. There's a bottle on top. All sorts of things you can do. I know it's getting late into, getting into fall, but like, hey, maybe go swimming for the last time before winter hits. Whatever you got to do it with a Dew. The mountain is calling, and you should answer. Grab your friends, grab an ice-cold Mountain Dew wherever refreshing beverages are sold, and do the Dew. And that brings us to the third question. We're going to be talking about a guy named Juan Soto. He's set to play in his second World Series, looking for the second ring. He won it all in 2019 with the Nationals as they bested the Astros. And I like to always remember that Howie Kendrick home run. Daniel Hudson was a beast. He's now on the Dodgers, so how about that? Juan Soto, 25 years old today, but by game 1 of the World Series on Friday, that's his birthday. He'll be 26. He's set to hit free agency for the first time. After hitting that massive home run in game 5 of the ALCS to send the Yankees to the World Series, his teammates were making it clear that they want the Yankees to do whatever it takes to keep him here. Giancarlo Stanton, we have here a tweet talking about his quote. We need him to stay. He's going to stay. We need to bring it home. He's talking about the World Series. And then we'll bring him home also. Jazz Chisholm had stuff to say as well. There was a lot of guys really going to bat for bringing Juan Soto back, which is obvious because he's one of the best hitters in the game, and you want the guy to be on your team. He's been so impactful for the Yankees this year. Is Juan Soto's price tag set after his game-winning homer in Game 5 of the ALCS, or do you think it's possible he can even increase his value with his performance in this World Series, Charlie?
Dalton Feely, our researcher, what a foolish question. Of course he can increase his value, as if it's not sky high already. What a very unique scenario we're in, where if the Yankees can come away with a World Series ring, all of that good faith can be undone in like 2 months if they manage to let Juan Soto leave, because that's how important this is. That's why you get high-profile players like Giancarlo Stanton, who's become just a quote machine this October, going to bat for who I believe is a top 3 player in the game and is going to only get better. He's 26, and how fitting that he was born in October considering the postseason performer he's been. Yeah, dude. I mean, if Juan Soto comes out and even has one more great moment in this postseason, it just goes to show you how unfazed he is by the lights when they're at their absolute brightest. We saw a 20-year-old kid shuffle and then hit a bomb off Justin Verlander in the World Series. I have to imagine he's going to do something greater in this series with an even tougher matchup at hand. What I'll say is that the Yankees will make more than enough money this World Series from ticket sales and merch and TV deals alone to get Juan Soto whatever he wants. So if for some reason he's not in pinstripes next year, it's an ultimate failure on that front office, and I will stand by that regardless of what the price ends up being, because the Yankees are in the best position they've been in 15 years to bring one home. They got to get it done, and then they got to bring him home. I fully agree with what Giancarlo said. Even as a Mets fan who would love to see Soto on my team, I have a really tough time imagining him anywhere else next year. But that price tag, it could veer towards Shohei territory, man. That number could start with a 7, and I wouldn't be shocked.
I don't know about that. Now, I can envision him in different uniforms, not because I'm a Yankee hater, which I'm sure there's going to be a lot of comments. But look, this guy, do you know who his agent is?
I'm not familiar. Can you remind me?
Yeah, Scotty B. My boy Scotty B. We're dapping each other up all the time. The Dodger games. We got close this year, bro.
Okay.
We did.
Trying to get back in the game. I respect it, dude.
Can you imagine if I brought Scotty B to the table when I'm negotiating with Courtney and Jake for my salary next year? I just bring in Scott Boras.
Be holding out till the end of spring training, dog.
I might. Okay, so here's what I'll say. Can he increase his value? Yes. Is his value already set? If he falls flat on his face this World Series and goes 0 for 20 with 19 strikeouts, it doesn't matter. Like, he's still going to get his deal. The body of work is incredible. He's never finished a season with an OPS plus below 140. Jesus. Okay. Soto will enter the offseason with 36 career wins above replacement to his name, 10th highest WAR through age 25 since the beginning of the 1950s. He's a generational player. He's going to get paid like it. I've seen numbers that were put out yesterday. I believe it was like 14 years, 530, I think was what it said, which comes out to right around like $36 million a year for 14.
That's a steal.
Seems a little light.
Steal.
Seems a little light to me, and you know, there won't be a bunch of teams going after him because of the price tag. I think he's probably got like 4 teams that are going to be vying for him. I believe it's probably the Yankees, the Mets, I'd say the Blue Jays, and I'd say the Giants. I don't know any other teams that are going to be realistically going after him. I hope there's more. Can you name another team?
I think the Dodgers and Phillies are going to get involved. Dodgers is sicko because of what their payroll looks like. And I think the Phillies are either going to go one direction or the other, whether they buy back in more or try and restructure what they have. But those 2 teams I could see making a run to.
Dave Dombrowski just shooting from the hip. Okay. Well, it doesn't matter. There's going to be teams, and there's going to be a bidding war. At the very least, there'll be a bidding war between the 2 New York teams. So I think this contract could go up. So yeah, you definitely can increase it, but I think my main point here is that the value is already set. 26 years old going into next year. So is a team going to give him 14 years?
Dude, I can't believe he turned down 15 years, $440 million, and it ended up being a fantastic decision. Like that never happens. The story is always, why didn't you take the money?
Well, we'll see, Jolly. We don't know. We've seen crazy stuff happen in free agency. We've seen crazy stuff happen, bro.
You think he's going to get less than the Nationals offer?
I do not believe
There's
that.
no way.
I do not believe that. I'm just saying we've seen crazier things happen. That is a lot of money to turn down. I do believe he's going to best that by about $100 million. So yes, good decision. I know this is a World Series kind of preview but this is going to be the story of the offseason. And we got some big dog free agents. We got Corbin Burns. We got Max Fried. Like, We got some real deal guys
Jack
out
Flaherty
there.
in there. Give Jack some love.
Jack
He's been great.
Flaherty, sure.
There you go.
But no one is going to have people talking about them the way Juan Soto is going to have people talking about him. Dude, this is my thing. Okay, just real quick.
Give me your thing, man. Give it. Come on.
Let me go on a tangent real quick.
Quick one.
If you're Juan Soto and, you got to play the wine and dine game, what are teams going to do to wine and dine this guy? What is Steve Cohen? What are they going to do together? Like you can't just say, hey, come to Citi Field or come to my offices in Manhattan and let's talk about this. Like Steve Cohen's got to be getting him in a chopper, bring him to his house in the Hamptons. The greatest Dominican chef in the world is going to come there or something. Like, what's he going to do to get this guy?
I mean, how do you outdo what the Dodgers did for Yamamoto, which was like the message from Kobe Bryant, like from years ago, which is absurd to have that foresight. How do you all we heard about last offseason was the dinners that Yamamoto was going on. Imagine how much that's going to be multiplied for Juan Soto and how many more teams are going to be involved. It's going to be absurd.
I think you were talking Ohtani there with the Kobe video.
I was, excuse me.
Yeah. I'm very curious. I just want to know behind the scenes of what's going to happen, dude. And if you're Soto, take all the meetings, bro. Take them all.
No rush. Bryce didn't sign till like February or March, right? No rush, dude.
It's going to be awesome. I hope he has a great World Series. It matters a little bit, but I don't think it matters that much. He's that good. Let's move on. Let's talk about not a player. We're going front office here. We cover all aspects of the World Series. Talking about Brian Cashman. The Yankees, they're playing in their first World Series since winning it back in 2009, which 2009 doesn't seem that long ago. It is, people. It's 15 years ago. That's good math by me right there. After having some postseason struggles since their last World Series championship, Brian Cashman was asked his thoughts about getting back to the World Series for the first time after 15 long years.
Give me your thoughts here of finally getting back and winning a pennant after a 15-year. I don't want to say drought. That's not fair, but you understand what I'm saying with the gap. How about winning the pennant? How does that mean to you? Let me hear.
It means a lot, and I hate the 15-year thing because it completely forgets and discounts that some other organization cheated us when we were all the way in the end. If you knew what was going on, I don't think they would be advancing during that time thing. I think we would have been advancing. So. I hate that 15-year thing because I don't think it accurately reflects history.
First of all, I didn't know that was the clip.
Mad Dog. Mad Dog coming in.
Mad Dog came in my ears hot right there. Woo! Me and Mad Dog, we have beef. I don't know if you know that, Jolly.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he personally called me out on his show.
Soft? What do you say? Let's get that clip, Dan, really quick.
Let's go back. He said Bryce Harper had a bad year one year, and Bryce put up a 4.2 year with I don't even know. He had a perfectly fine year, and I was like, dude, this guy's on MLB Network. I said this on a tweet. I said this guy's on MLB Network. This is how we're presenting the game. Come on, we got to do better than that. So he got a lot of flack for that. A lot of players came at him, and he says, I understand some of these players coming at me. It's fine, but Trevor Plouffe. I got to have Trevor Plouffe talking about me. It's kind of funny. So now him and I just have beef. Man, I got a list of people I got beef with. I'll explain to you afterwards. Let's get to the question at hand, though. Do you agree with Cashman talking about that 15-year gap? It's unfair to say that because of what we learned about the 2017 season. With the Houston Astros. Do you think that's fair for him to say it actually hasn't been 15 years because we got cheated out of that year?
I'm of two minds. One, I don't necessarily agree because those 2017 Yankees were really good, but they were ahead of schedule. And I do think that the teams that preceded them were actually better rosters and more seasoned rosters because, those are the baby bombers. That was their nickname. That was their first real run. They upset a really good Cleveland team, and then they ran into those Astros. And who's to say if they win it all after if they make it to the World Series? Because the Dodgers competed heavily with those Astros while they were cheating. So, that's all up in the air. And I do agree that, it's valid to bring up 2017 because who knows what would have happened had the Astros not cheated. But in 2018 and 2019, those teams won 100 and 103 games. They went back to the ALCS, where presumably the Astros were done cheating. Who's to say? And they weren't able to get it done again. They had so many teams that came after that weren't able to get it done. So I think that to bring up the 15-year gap is not necessarily a bad thing. Like, MLB has gotten very competitive in the last decade. Teams are spending more than ever. I understand the parity of the situation. And I don't think it should be dismissed. I think that Cashman should be appreciative of the history that has preceded this run for this Yankees team, because I do think that his offseason trade of Juan Soto is the reason that they are here. I think he is playing a key role in why this team finally was able to get over the hump, whether you think their path to get there was easy or not. But to simply write off the mid-2010 stuff as Astros cheated, so, we should have been there anyway. There's so many different things that can happen if that timeline is changed in any way. And also, don't reflect on the past, man. Live in the present. Like, you're here now. It doesn't matter what happened. The Yankees stuck by Cashman, which I still think was the right decision, even though people are calling for his head every year. I think he's the best general manager in baseball. And it's showing right now with the way that he could, like, look at their bullpen right now. Their bullpen that gave up no runs in the ALDS and then gave up like 3 in the ALCS. It's full of dudes who were scrap heap guys. I think Cashman learned a lot from past mistakes. Remember when the Yankees spent hundreds of millions of dollars on their bullpen only for it to completely flame out from guys like Zach Britton and Andrew Miller and those bloated contracts? Chapman, another example. This is just one piece of why Brian Cashman is the reason that he's been employed for the past 30 years, is because he's very good at the job. And as much as 2017 will sting probably forever for Yankees fans, I think you got to just appreciate where you're at now, leave the past in the past, and be grateful that you're here where you are.
Okay, lots to unpack. There are a lot of incoming comments saying Jolly Brian Cashman's the best GM in baseball.
Fight me.
Quote Jolly Olive.
Who's better?
A lot of people are going to be coming at you for that one, which is
okay.
I think you're entitled to have your opinion. I do think his fingerprints are all over this roster. I would also point to some player development stuff and some pitching coaches, I think, really helping guys like Luke Weaver, turn into what he's turned into. But you're right. You got to sign the guys. And I do think him going out and getting Juan Soto, understanding it's for 1 year and the pieces that he had to give up, but seeing that he needed to do that. Whether that was because he was fighting for his job or not, he made the move, and here we are. So I do think that he has his faults, but also he has been a good general manager for the most part. For the question, is it fair to talk about this run, this gap, without mentioning the Astros? No, it's not fair. You have to mention in 2017. I mean, I've been on record saying that knowing which pitch is coming is more of a performance enhancer than performance enhancing drugs. It's just the bottom line. If you know what pitch is coming, the game gets so much easier. So yeah, I think that did they get cheated out of the 2017 World Series? Yes, I 100% do. I really do. So you have to mention it. I do think the Astros have proven over time that they didn't even need the system. They're that good. The organization was that good. They've continued to win. They've continued to do, I don't know if they've defined the odds is the right, I don't think that's the right way to put it, but they have done it without it. So you have to give credit to the organization. But at that time, they were cheating like crazy, bro. So yeah, you have to mention it.
Yep.
I played against them twice that year. A's and Rays didn't know that they were doing it. Didn't. So couldn't hear it, I guess. I don't know what the heck it is, but I think you do have to mention it. And I do think that on the flip side, Cashman does deserve a lot of credit for this team getting to where they've gotten to. Now it's up to all the guys on the field to bring it on home for the Yanks. Or maybe we'll say that Brian Cashman isn't the best GM. I don't know. Does his value ride on this World Series?
I think
kind of
so.
does, right?
I think it does. Yeah, because he's only going to have so much control over the money that Hal Steinbrenner wants to spend this offseason. And I think that if there's a Juan Soto issue, it'll unfortunately get latched onto him. But winning this World Series will soften that blow a lot if it does happen.
My favorite general manager in baseball is Dave Dombrowski, so I'll go there.
I don't think he's better than Brian Cashman.
And Stearns is baseball ops, right? He's president.
Oh, he's both. I think he's
He has
GM and
both?
Pobo. Yeah. And
So
we'll
you
see.
don't think he's better than Cashman?
I've never seen Stearns have like a $300 million payroll. So I don't know. Like he's only ever like his highest contract, I think, is Lorenzo Cain. So like he's never had the opportunity to spend big money.
That.
Yeah.
Little inside info. Brewers have, every team has their own, rating system, the way they see players, and the Brewers that offseason had Lorenzo Cain. I don't even know I forget who else was in that free agent class, but they had Lorenzo Cain as the number one free agent, like by far.
By far. He's
That's
pretty good.
when they went out and signed him. Speaking of signing, before we get to question 5, I have to tell you guys again that today's episode is brought to you by SeatGeek, the official ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball. The playoffs are here. The big dance is here, guys. The Fall Classic is here, guys. And to celebrate, SeatGeek is giving a special offer. Use code JOHNBOYPlayoffs10 for 10% off your order, whether you're a first-time buyer or not. So take your phone, open the SeatGeek app, and add JOHNBOYPlayoffs10 to your account. Do it right now. I do want to say, I don't want to give misinformation, and this will be in the description. It is to a max value of $25. So I'm not saying buy tickets separately. I'm not saying to do that, but if that's one way you could get some extra savings there. So $25 max on that John Boy's Playoffs 10. If you don't know what SeatGeek is, they're a ticketing app that makes buying tickets super simple. They rate every ticket from 0 to 10, making sure you are getting a good deal. It's really easy, Jolly. Green means good and red means bad. It has become, not just because they're a sponsor of ours, but I do believe it's the easiest interface of any ticketing agency. So I use it mainly because of that, also because we have our playoff code here. Take advantage of this special postseason hookup and use code JOHNBOYPlayoffs10 for 10% off tickets at SeatGeek. This code works on tickets to anything. So, like I said, go to a concert if you're not into baseball, but why would you be listening to baseball today if you're not into baseball? Whatever. It doesn't matter how many times you bought tickets using SeatGeek before. Open your phone, add code JOHNBOYPlayoffs10 to your account, and thank us later. Now, Jolly, we always end our show with, kind of like a fun topic. This one is very interesting to me. The Arizona Fall League, which, by the way, holds a dear place in my heart. It's where they send young 20-year-old kids to basically play in a league against all the top prospects. You have every Sunday off. You're near ASU in Scottsdale. It is. You have a time, Jolly. I will say that. I definitely did. So they're doing check swing path reviews essentially now, which is very interesting. So as technology continues to become more advanced, baseball is striving to incorporate it into the game to help assist in making the highest percentage of accurate calls as possible. We're trying robotic umpires and ABS challenge and system for calling balls and strikes. This is what we have now for check swings during their at-bats. Now, I'm going to give you my answer straight away. I love this. I think it's awesome. I think that has got to be one of the toughest calls for any umpire to make. First, for the home plate umpire to be like, yeah, you swung. Like, what are you looking at? How do you know I swung? Aren't you looking at the ball and like where that's coming in? I feel like that's very hard for you to make that call unless it's a very egregious check swing. And then the first base or the third base umpire, depending on who's, what handed batter is up, you're 90 feet away. A lot of times these guys are 60 plus years old. You know how fast the bat is swung. Like, how can you really tell? I am so in on this. Like, I think this is exactly what we should be doing because we want to get these calls right. What's your take on it?
I love it, man. I mean, I've been a fan of pretty much all the changes that have come in the past couple of years, from the extra inning rule to the pitch clock to this. I think that if you can incorporate state-of-the-art technology to get the game as finely tuned as you can, then I'm for it. I know that prior generations like the human element, and it's part of what they grew up with, and I totally get that. And this is a younger kid speaking to a very, broad audience full of different demographics and ages. But even just take this micro example of Drew Gilbert having that bat in the AFL. Drew Gilbert's trying to build his resume so he can get playing time on the Mets next year, a team that just went to the NLCS. Every at-bat matters, dude. If a walk turns into a strikeout, that factors into possible decision-making going forward. Like these at-bats might not seem important to general fans, but to the players that are fighting for opportunities and know their game, these things matter. So like Drew Gilbert, I don't know if you've seen the clip of him actually challenging it. He checks his swing. It's very clearly a checked swing. He goes like this, and then he immediately taps his helmet because he knows that he's right. And that's just, I watched a lot of bad umpiring in the MLB playoffs where we're supposed to be as finely tuned as possible. A lot of the time it was skewed in favor of my team and I didn't complain, but it doesn't change the fact that wrong calls were made at certain areas. And like, if we can iron all this shit out, why not? Like the pitch clock has been great for the game. If we can get these instant challenge systems that don't affect the duration of the game, unlike the challenge system itself, I'm all for it. And you saw it there. It works pretty well.
I just want to make sure there's still a limit on these things. Like when the challenges get to be done, I don't want every single batter to just start tapping their helmet. There has to be a limit. I'm assuming there will be. Hitters are just, they never think they're wrong. I'm a hitter. I never thought I was wrong. I checked my swing and go back and look, and no, I didn't check my swing. So I'm all for it. We want to get these calls right. And, I think Jimmy has put this, he's been on this forever. Like the technology exists. In other sports, like just think about like fair foul balls. Like look at what tennis does with their Hawkeye system. Like we can have things like this in our game and still keep the human element. We can. So I'm all for it. I think we're gonna get it. That's it for today's show. The next time we'll be talking to you guys, Jolly will. We have to decide. We might have one show kind of right before on Friday. Lights are out. Okay. We might have one show before the World Series on Friday. I think we will. And then we're going to be doing shows. Chris Rose will be back. Him and I will be doing shows after the games, recapping the games, kind of, diving in deep, man. The World Series is here. This juggernaut World Series.
Do you think Chris Rose even knows that the ALCS is over? Because he kind of just left and hasn't talked about baseball at all. So,
dude, he's in France making love to his beautiful bride, Michelle, as they eat like croissants. They're probably smoking cigarettes underneath the Eiffel Tower. I don't know. Whatever they're doing. We wish him the best. He works very, very hard for the company, and he's old. He needs some time off. But, Chris, get back here for the World Series. It's a mega one. I don't know if you've heard, okay? Let's get to work, buddy, and then we could take some time off. But for his replacement, our guy with the good hair, Jolly with the good hair, that's what they call him, Jolly Olive, and obviously producer Dan, massive Yankee fan. We say thank you, and we will see you next time on Baseball Today.